Another day, another record.
Shout last a little bit.
Clark, step back, hits a three!
Caitlyn Clark has done it again. This time, she's etched her name in the history books by setting the single-season record for assists, tallying 321 dimes, and surpassing the previous record held by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun. But of course, against the Aces, she had to put her headgear on.
And Clark knocked off the ball there by Young, and she's called for her 4th foul.
From the jump, the Las Vegas Aces had a clear plan for Caitlyn Clark, double team her from the get-go. But with her record-breaking court vision, she was ready for it.
Clark seeing 2 players her direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage, and Boston gets the friendly roll.
The Boston connection was activated early, like a cheat code on a video game, something they've been using to dominate all season long.
Clark shot fakes the 3, feeds inside to Boston for 2.
With the Aces focusing their entire defense on CC to keep her from scoring, it was only a matter of time before she broke the assist record.
The MVP in Asia Wilson. Here's Clark handing off to Smith, who hangs and draws the foul.
On the other end, the Fever started strong, pushing the pace like they were trying to outrun everyone in a track meet.
Sorts of defenders in the way for Indiana as Clark bounces ahead and Mitchell beats the pack back.
What a beautiful defensive possession right there.
And even with the Aces defense swarming, 22 still managed to muscle her way for some buckets.
Clark gets inside and can't get the roll, but she will head to the free throw line. Clark with 3 assists.
But when she tried to dish out the same defensive pressure, the refs were quick to blow the whistle on her.
To punch off the bench.
Caitlyn, frustrated, took it out on the padding and got hit with a tech for good measure.
Be allowed to be frustrated, and as long as it's not an overt action at any player or official.
Not with these refs. However, that frustration didn't slow her down though. She turned that anger into something productive.
Clark.
But the Aces sent the layup flying, like blocking a shot from your little cousin in the driveway. With Caitlyn getting some anger management on the bench, the Aces took advantage and got busy. But Alyssa Smith wasn't going to let them run away with it. She went into bully mode, like she was pushing through a crowd at Black Friday.
On this Aces roster, as Smith just muscles her way inside, to not have...
The Aces, though, they started pulling out the dirty tricks, landing a sneaky elbow on Boston that sent her to the bench for some medical attention. But you could see it in Caitlyn's eyes when she came back into the game in the second quarter. This game was far from over, and with the Boston replacement on the floor, they came out swinging.
Dantas launches and hits a 3.
But just as the Fever looked like they were heating up, the Aces responded from deep, like they were making it rain in a shooting drill. Caitlyn had her hands full. Every time she tried to make a play, the defenders were sticking to her like gum on a hot sidewalk. But she still managed to get by.
Be independent, which is exactly where the Aces want to be.
A 10-2 response by the Aces.
The Aces pushed their lead to 30-22. But just when things started to look bleak, Kelsey Mitchell stepped up and sank back-to-back threes, like she was playing with a flamethrower.
Outside of Mitchell, but she's open and splashes home 3 more.
Even with the Aces matching threes shot for shot, Kelsey took over, stepping up like a silent assassin, while Caitlyn drew all the attention. But no game is complete without a little drama, right? Caitlyn got herself open for a 3, jumped forward into contact, but the refs called it foul baiting.
There. And they're going to call that, I think, an offensive foul.
Like she tried to pull a fast one in front of the teacher. It seemed like every time she made a move, the sticky defense was there, and she was the one getting punished. Even when Boston returned to the floor after that earlier elbow, the Aces had it out for her. They pulled off some more MMA moves, testing the limits of basketball rules.
Dirty, I think it's just with a lot of passion. That's how they get fired up. It's all about the fight.
But the refs sided with the more experienced team, leaving the Fever to end the half on a sour note. And during halftime, Kelsey Plum's interview said it all.
All right, Kelsey, let's start with defense. You held the Fever to just 13 first quarter points. What did you like about the way your team came out on that side of the ball? I don't know. Come back to me later.
In the third quarter, the Fever needed answers, and fast.
Man, she went with Great job by Boston, but here
They came out with a burst of energy, but the Aces weren't letting up.
that confidence back as well.
Now we'll see if that's what Clark needed to get going. Oh, Chelsea Gray, showtime, and Young with the and one.
But it wasn't just on offense.
The screen, the bounce from Clark. Plum nearly picked her pocket and just got a bit of Mitchell.
But Caitlyn rose to the occasion, hitting big shots from deep.
Clark, Boston screen, fire away, hits a three.
Even when the Aces fired back with their own threes, Caitlyn was there, putting the team on her back, fighting for every bucket.
You both have the ability to score, and here's yet another big shot.
She wasn't getting any love from the refs, but that didn't stop her from forcing a steal and racing down the court like she was in a foot race against time. With the Fever still trailing by 8 points at 56-48, Caitlyn knew she had to take things up a notch.
Clark off the screen, drives inside, and the big shot is good.
And then some.
Out his last a little bit.
Clark, step back, hits a three.
And in classic Clark fashion, she single-handedly dragged the Fever back into the game, closing the gap to 60-57 and leaving the Aces speechless. The Fever still had a full quarter to pull off the upset, and Caitlyn wasn't done. And luckily for her, she got some help.
Wheeler back outside, Dantas launches and hits a three.
But the Aces had other plans, pulling out their dirty tricks once again.
Plum called for the foul as Clark started to drop.
Trying to mess with Caitlyn's focus while they found their groove on the court. Maybe it was jealousy, trying to chase what they couldn't catch. They found every way to steal the spotlight, but when their basketball skills weren't enough, they went back to what worked: physicality. Luckily, the fouls were piling up so high, she got in the bonus and to the line.
And Clark knocked off the ball there by Young, and she's called for her fourth foul.
Where her 90% shooting were basically free points. And with Boston connecting on open looks, Caitlyn didn't have to do it all. But of course, the refs had to give the Aces a little nudge, falling for their foul baits and keeping them just ahead. With 72-68 on the board and 2 minutes to go, Caitlyn took over again.
Working on Young, one of the best defenders. Clark gets by her and gets to the rim.
Cutting the lead to just 2 points. The next possession, you knew who would have the ball in her hands. But she got a little too excited, pushing too hard and missing a key shot.
The switch on to Wilson. Clark will launch.
On the other end, the Fever defense forgot about the corner, the one place you don't want to leave open. The Aces punished them, extending the lead. Even after a quick bucket, the clock wasn't on the Fever's side. They were forced to play the foul free throw game, giving themselves one last chance. With 23 seconds on the clock, down by 3, they called a timeout. But somehow, the final play drawn up ended with someone who doesn't even shoot threes.
Driving on Clark. Mitchell, Boston for the tie. Oh, it rims out. She got a great look.
The game ended with a gut-wrenching loss, despite Caitlyn's record-breaking night. The Fever might have fallen to their rivals, but Caitlyn made sure her name stayed at the top of the headlines.